Welcome to 2025. Wow. So this is the beginning of January 2025. And so I want to continue my tradition over the past few years of projecting what I think the real estate market in Tampa is going to look like. So that's what I'm talking about today. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21, List with Beggins, located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So in the past, I was very confident about the information I would share with you about what I think the market would do. Yeah, I have to be honest and say 2025 is going to be an interesting year. And I don't have a crystal ball. I didn't stay at the Holiday Inn Express last night to tell you what I think is going to happen. Now, I will tell you what I think is going to happen, but there's not that surety. So let me just explain, right? So I read a report just this morning that the the Atlanta Federal Reserve shows that the gross domestic product increased to 3.1. Now that's a very strong indicator and very good for our economy. However, the St. Louis Fed put out their GDP projection and said it's only 1.3. 1.3 is very weak and a bad sign for the economy. So here you have Federal Reserve, one's at 3.1, one's at 1.3. They can't agree. So now, listen, if they were all at 3, I could tell you the economy is going to get better. But because of this difference, it's hard for me or really anybody to say what's going to happen with the economy. Why do I keep talking about the economy? Because what is facing the real estate market in Tampa, and again, let me put this caveat. I talk about a real estate market. There is not a real estate market. There are micro markets, right? Each individual neighborhood and area has its own set of dynamics. However, I generalize and talk about the real estate market in general. The biggest issue facing this area is affordability. And affordability goes two ways. One is what people can afford in the house based on their mortgage rate and the price of the home. And I'll talk about both of those later. The other part about affordability is insurance and taxes. And so let me talk about that right now. So if you've been around here, you know this area has been hit by 2 hurricanes the past 3 months. And homes are decimated and destroyed, and there's still repairs being done, and that can go on for several more months. How that is going to affect the homeowners insurance market is yet to be seen. Now, Citizens, which is the state-run insurance company, is supposed to be the insurer of last resort, but they protected themselves by telling people, if you are insured with Citizens, you must have flood insurance. Well, that protected Citizens quite a bit and protected FEMA in some sense. But there's still an impact because of the wind damage to insurance companies. And it's only going to be this year that we can see the impact, because I'm sure insurance companies are going to ask for rate increases. And what those increases are going to be, we don't know yet. But that adds to the affordability issue. Um, Now, I will say a couple years ago, the state of Florida, and I think this is an ongoing discussion, is what changes can they make to the law to lower homeowners insurance premiums in the state? And they've made some changes. And so because of those changes, there are more homeowners carriers coming into the state. But after these recent hurricanes, a couple insurers have left the state. And it's all about managing risk. So again, just on the homeowners insurance front, I absolutely expect there will be an increase. What that increase will be, no idea. And we'll just have to play it by ear. Taxes. So listen, if you own a home and you have not filed for homestead exemption, you are setting yourself up to pay more taxes in the future. So please, if you live in your primary residence and you have not filed for homestead exemption, please do that. Because by filing for homestead exemption, it caps how much the assessed value of your home can go up each year. It can't go up more than 3%. Plus, it creates a measure. If you were to move, you can port the difference between the market value and taxable value. You can port that to your new home, new location. So, got a couple things to keep in mind, but taxes, they're going to be there. Will taxes go up? Really depends on the assessed value. And the assessed value really gets reset when you buy a home. So take a look. So, like for example, if we bought our home for $200,000 and now it's worth $600,000, and somebody buys it at $600,000, they would pay tax on $600,000. We're paying tax on $200,000. So you can't look at a house and say, oh, their taxes are only $1,300. Well, that's based on what they bought the house for, not necessarily what you would buy the house for. So just taxes, be sure you file for homestead exemption. But let's talk about sales. I created a report, so I put out a monthly commercial newsletter. I've said on this channel and other videos, I am a commercial specialist specializing in South Tampa. And I create a monthly newsletter that I both email and mail out. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll be glad to share it with you. But in this month's that's being mailed out today, I looked at residential sales by zip code. So the 5 zip codes of South Tampa. And I was just curious about the number of sales and comparing 23 to 24, comparing sales, total dollar figure, but also average price per home. And what I found was very interesting. So there were only 2 zip codes in which the number of sales and total sales volume went up. And that was 33606, which is Davis Islands in that area, and 33629, which is the Palmacia area. Those 2 zip codes had an increase in sales and sales volume. The other 3 zip codes, which is 33609, 33611, 33616, had a decrease in the number of sales, and because of that, a decrease in total sales volume. However, the median price per home actually went up, except in 33616, it stayed even, right? But even though there was a decrease in the number of sales, the average price per home went up. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, the projections, and this is all the pundits, right? And pundits, I include Zillow to CBRE and some of the other big companies. They project that the median sales price of homes are going to appreciate between 2 and 5% this year. 2 to 5% this year. So again, it becomes an affordability issue. So let's say you're looking at a home at $400,000. Well, 5% is what, $20,000? So did I do that math right? So now you need $420,000 if the home increases by 5%. So the question is, would you have preferred to buy a home 2 years ago or buy it now? Certainly 2 years ago, because prices have gone up. In fact, one zip code, just in 24, the median sales price went up 29% from 23 to 24. 29%. Now, I don't expect that to continue. However, that's a move, right? Homes are selling, people are paying more based on where they want to live, quality of the home, size of the home, all of that. The other factor, go back to affordability, is interest rates. So certainly if you're paying, go back to 20 and 21, interest rates were about 3%, 3 to 4%. Well, Freddie Mac came out yesterday and said that the average mortgage rate right now is 6.9%. So almost double what it was back in 20 and 21. Well, that absolutely affects what families can afford. And then families are being squeezed, right? So if they can't afford to buy a house, they're having to rent. So they're putting money out each month, not building equity, but on top of that, rent may go up, but all the cost of living has gone up. Food has gone up, gas has gone up, insurance has gone up, right? All those living expenses has gone up because of the inflation. So families are being squeezed, which means they don't have enough money for down payment. It becomes an affordability issue. So 2025 will be interesting. Absolutely, the U.S. has got to get inflation under control. And the Federal Reserve said they only plan a couple more rate cuts in 2025. Their goal has always been to get inflation to 2%. Well, it's over the past couple months, it's crept up, where now it's 2.5%, almost 3%. So they want to get inflation back down. So they're going to hold rates higher for longer. Now, that does not necessarily affect mortgage rates. Mortgage rates track the 10-year Treasury. Well, the 10-year Treasury really follows inflation overall and government spending. Reports I've read is government spending is crazy right now. It's, adding billions of dollars a day to the debt. So it'll be interesting with this new administration, and I'm not getting political. I hope this for any administration, to go in there and make sound economic decisions to cut government spending, cut government waste. And then once we can do that, then companies can start thriving and hiring and paying more, right? And that just stimulates the economy. It'll lower the 10-year Treasury, it will lower mortgage rates. So 2025 will be interesting. I think certainly towards the end of 2025, we'll see a positive impact on the 10-year Treasury and interest rates. Right now, 6.9. I would think at the end of the year, we may be about 6.3, right? So that's where I think we're headed. I think we're still going to be in the mid-6 range this year, unless things really drastically improve. And as an American, as a consumer, I certainly hope that. But I think we're going to be in the mid-6s most of the year for mortgage rates. So families who are looking to buy a home just need to figure that in, and just don't look at mortgage rates. Figure in insurance costs, tax, the annual taxes. If you're living in a community, the HOA fees. Also figure in you're going to have to pay for electricity and utilities, and add all that up, right? But here's the other issue that I think is going to impact the real estate market in Tampa. People are still moving to Tampa. Why? Well, listen, Tampa has been ranked one of the top technology hubs in the nation. We have the ports and road systems and railroad systems, so it becomes a logistics hub, logistics and distribution hub. We have one of the leading hospitals in the entire nation. I talked about the technology hubs. We have the logistics and distribution. We have Florida has a great tax rate for people. Florida was ranked one of the top cities to start a business. It was ranked, I think, number 2 in the nation to start a career. It was ranked as one of the top cities for retirees. So people are moving here. And when people move here, there's a demand for homes, apartments, condos, office space, jobs, right? So we are still going to see expansion in the Tampa area. And then we get into the law of supply and demand. We bring more people in who want space, but we have people here renting that want space. Who's going to pay more for the space? It becomes that law of supply and demand. And that's why I think we're going to see an increase in appreciation, value appreciation, because of this demand for space. So, listen, I don't want to be, I can't be a Debbie Downer. My name's not Debbie. But I just wanted to be very real with you. 2025 will be a very interesting year. I think we're going to see some positive signs towards the end of the year. The next few months, it'll be interesting. It'll be a bumpy ride for many people. But listen, I want to be your trusted advisor. So go to my website, joebrownc21.com. You can read my blogs. You can search for homes. There's a contact me button. Just go out there. Let me be your trusted advisor. You don't have to use me as your realtor. I would hope you would, but just go out there. Send me questions. I'll be glad to answer questions for you. And let me put a plug too. I did a video. In fact, I'll put a link to it at the end of this video for some beach projects. Now, listen, I know this isn't for everybody. This is really for investors that have money that you want to invest in a property at the beach that you can get some income out of. I did a video on an exclusive project my brokerage has over at Madeira Beach. Please check that out. If you're in a position to do that, please check that out. I'll send a link, or I'll put a link at the end of the video. So have a great week. I tell you, living in Tampa in Florida is great. I'm excited for the Bucks this week. Hopefully they'll lock up a playoff spot. So until next week, take care.